80 AD, the Roman Colosseum, 50,000 people screaming. In the middle of the arena, a woman is chained to a wooden structure, naked, shaking, terrified. Suddenly, they release a bull, not to kill her, for something worse. The guards have constructed a mechanical imitation of a cow. They force the woman inside it. Then they drive the bull forward and make it mount the structure. This is an execution, hidden behind mythology. It recreates the story of Pasiphae, the queen who, according to legend, slept with a bull. The crowd applauds. Children are watching. Senators laugh. Welcome to Roman entertainment. This is not fiction. It truly happened. The poet Martial was present at the inauguration of the Colosseum, and he wrote it down. We saw Pasiphae united with the bull. The ancient legend received witness under Caesar. Rome, the greatest empire in history. Laws, aqueducts, philosophy. And this public rape transformed into family spectacle. Today, you're going to uncover the most brutal, most perverted, most inhuman shows ever organized by Rome inside the arena. Things Hollywood would never portray. Things teachers never mention. Things the Romans themselves recorded in detail. Because this was not insanity. It was politics, propaganda, control. And it was completely legal. I'm Crown and Dagger, and here there is no censorship. Only the truth Rome prefers you forget. Notice something. When people talk about the Colosseum, they always mention brave gladiators. They never talk about this. Every week, Crown and Dagger digs up the darkest stories the world chooses to ignore. If you want uncensored history, hit like and subscribe, because what comes next is far more brutal. Rome, 1st to 4th century AD. 60 million people, the largest empire in human history. And every major city shared one thing: an arena. More than 250 amphitheaters across Roman territory. The Colosseum could hold 50,000 spectators, and it was filled constantly. Here's what you must understand. This was not random violence, it was industrial-scale death. The historian Eutropius calculated that over 400,000 people died in Roman arenas over 4 centuries. An entire city erased for entertainment. At the Colosseum's opening, Emperor Titus celebrated with 100 straight days of games, 9,000 animals slaughtered, 90 deaths per day, for pleasure. After conquering Dacia, Emperor Trajan held 123 days of games, 10,000 gladiators, thousands of prisoners executed. The philosopher Seneca attended these events and wrote something disturbing. I return home more greedy, more cruel, more inhuman, because I have been among humans. He witnessed the midday executions, criminals tied to stakes, lions released, the crowd betting on how long each victim would scream before dying. This was lunchtime entertainment. Why? Because the arena achieved something no other institution could. It taught obedience through enjoyment. When you watch a man ripped apart, you learn what happens to Rome's enemies. When you cheer while someone dies, you become complicit. And that complicity was the purpose. According to Cassius Dio, Rome spent more on arena spectacles than on roads, schools, or hospitals. By the 2nd century AD, the system was complete. Lions shipped from Africa, criminals from Gaul, Christians from Judea. Everything scheduled, everything financed, death processed like a product delivered daily to a population addicted to brutality. What you just heard was the system. Now let me show you what actually happened in the sand. The spectacles that made 50,000 people cheer while humanity died below them. It began at a funeral. 264 BC. 3 sons wished to honor their father, not with prayers, but with blood. They forced 3 pairs of slaves to fight to the death in the Forum Boarium, a cattle market filled with smoke and filth. This was not entertainment. It was munus, a duty owed to the dead. The tradition came from Rome's enemies, the Campanians and Samnites, who believed restless spirits needed blood to rest. Roman elites saw something else: power. A funeral with blood showed wealth. A funeral with spectacle showed dominance. By the 3rd century BC, politicians used these games as political tools. The Senate called it piety. The crowd understood it was strategy. Even the armor carried meaning. The Samnite gladiator wore the gear of conquered enemies. Every strike replayed Roman victory. Death became propaganda. Temporary wooden seating became permanent amphitheaters. Monuments to violence repeating the same message: Rome commands men, armies, even death. If funeral games marked the beginning, what followed made the arena far crueler. Rome learned that exotic suffering sold better than ordinary death. Lions from North Africa, leopards from the Caucasus, crocodiles from the Nile, giraffes dragged across deserts. They were not displayed as wonders, they were condemned as prey. In 46 BC, Julius Caesar presented the first giraffe ever seen in Europe. They named it Camelopardus. It didn't matter. The animal was sent into the arena to die. The message was clear. If Rome could capture the strangest creatures alive, it could conquer anything. The slaughter intensified. At the Colosseum's inauguration, 9,000 animals were killed. Archaeologists later found bones marked by deliberate starvation. Predators weakened to guarantee bloody deaths. Behind the scenes, logistics were ruthless. Caravans hauled cages across deserts. Ships carried beasts down the Nile. Handlers died transporting living trophies to a city demanding blood each day. Pliny the Elder warned that species were disappearing from their lands: lions, leopards, elephants. The arena became an ecological weapon. Animal slaughter filled the stands, but Rome wanted more. They wanted imbalance. Fights designed for suffering. Prisoners forced into the arena dressed as fools, handed wooden weapons and thrown against professionals. The crowd laughed as they collapsed. Execution disguised as sport. Weapons became spectacle. The retiarius with net and trident against the secutor whose helmet countered him. Not fairness, suspense. Some gladiators faced multiple enemies. Others fought nearly blind. Helmets restricted vision. Armor exhausted bodies. Protection became punishment. Gladiators dressed as barbarians reenacted Rome's defeated foes. Their deaths reinforced the same message: the empire always wins. But even this was not the worst. Rome had victims who were never meant to fight. They were meant to die screaming. At midday, combat stopped. Executions began. Damnatio ad bestias, condemnation to the beasts. Criminals, deserters, slaves, prisoners of war. They became actors in lethal morality plays. Each punishment fit the crime. Thieves torn apart. Arsonists burned alive. Traitors fed to lions. Living animals starved in frenzy. The uncertainty kept the crowd roaring. During Trajan celebrations, thousands were killed. Over 123 days of games. Deaths were choreographed. Strabo recorded victims tied to posts while trained animals attacked movement. Spectators bet on how long the screens would last. This was not justice, it was entertainment wearing a moral mask. And Rome went further. Death was no longer enough. The condemned had to perform it. Mythological executions. Prisoners forced to reenact legends. Orpheus sang while animals approached. In myth, they listened. In the arena, a bear tore him apart. Martial recorded it. Another man played Daedalus, lifted briefly on false wings, then dropped to the beasts below. Martial mocked him. Then came Pasiphae and the bull, a mechanical cow. Humiliation mixed with execution. Tertullian recorded women dressed as priestesses and violated before death. Rome claimed ownership of myth and flesh alike. Heroes, queens, legends, rewritten as props. But Rome was still unsatisfied. They asked, what if we flooded the arena? Naumachia, mock naval battles. Julius Caesar dug massive basins and filled them with water. Ships packed with prisoners forced to fight. Augustus expanded it with artificial seas fed by aqueducts. Warships clashed. No survivors expected. In 52 AD, Claudius staged one on Lake Fucine. The condemned saluted him. Those who are about to die salute you. Even the Colosseum could be flooded and drained. Cruelty became engineering. As the empire aged, the spectacles grew worse. Women forced to fight, sometimes naked, sometimes against animals. Juvenal mocked them, but records confirmed their existence. Prisoners burned alive in pitch-soaked tunics, living torches. Crucifixions staged publicly, while crowds ate nearby. Deaths lasting hours, children nearby. Emperor Commodus entered the arena dressed as Hercules, animals crippled beforehand, victories guaranteed, applause mandatory. Cassius Dio recorded 735 appearances, each costing enormous sums.